Oh, good morning, y'all. I put on a cute shirt so you wouldn't have to see my pants, but the reality is, I just woke up and this is what it is. Anyways, writing has changed my life for sure and has been a very big part of my life. But recently, I started writing again because I had a little, I don't know, I stopped writing for a while, and so I started writing recently, and my perspective on its purpose has truly changed in this new space that I'm in. And what I've learned is that writing is not just an outlet. It's not just a place for me to be real and spill my thoughts over the page. That is definitely something that I use it for. But it's teaching me and showing me how I view myself, how I view my life, how I talk to myself. And in those moments, that is where I shift perspectives. In that moment, that's where I not just become aware, but become so aware that as I continue writing, I'm changing the way that I'm looking at my life, or the way that I'm looking at my circumstances or a certain situation, or the way that I'm choosing to speak to myself. Sometimes in those moments, I learned that I'm not being kind or gentle with myself, and depending on what the situation is or where I'm at, I shift almost immediately. And I've noticed that when I shift in my writing, I take what's on the page and I apply that to my real life. And I'm noticing that. So recently I started asking myself, I ask myself this question every single day. The first question is, what does the version of me, what does this version of me need today? Because I get so focused on, I just made this video. It should be up by the time I post this video. But anyways, I asked myself that specific question because we get so trapped and so focused on the version of ourselves that we want to be that we forget about who we are now. And that's not healthy. But again, if you haven't seen that video, go watch it and I'll explain more about that. Because it's like we're trying to become versions of ourselves that don't exist, and the one that does exist gets tossed to the side. And then we wonder why we feel like we've been abandoned, or specifically me, like that is a form of self-abandonment. Or I wonder why I don't feel worthy. But it's because I'm thinking that I'm going to be worthy when I become this future version of myself, as if I'm not worthy right now because I exist. A lot of the times that I come on here and I make these videos, it's because I sat and I wrote and I realized something, and something changed within me, and I just want to come on here and talk about it and express it. Maintaining a safe space within myself for my nervous system to just relax. And writing has always been one of those things for me. I've been writing since I was in maybe not elementary school. I believe I picked up writing in 6th grade, because that's when I think my life started becoming a lot for me to handle, and I needed an outlet, and I didn't have one, and I was holding a lot of things that needed to be let go. But another thing that I realized another thing that I was doing before I picked up writing again is, even in my videos and when I'm talking, I struggle to get straight to the point because I focus on so many other details, and it's okay. I'm a woman. We're very detail oriented humans, and I'm just individually a detail oriented person. But sometimes I get stuck on the wrong details, the ones that don't really matter, the ones that are not necessary for me to focus on, and not, period of my life I needed to spill every last thought, every last detail, every last thing that I was harping on the page. But then what I realized is that became the habit. My writing wasn't just an outlet, it became a place for me to harp on things, for me to continuously bring things up because I was struggling to let it go. And what I originally came to the page for, that wasn't happening. So I took a break for a while, and in that time I was distracting myself for sure. I was still meditating every day. That's another thing, and I'll make a video about that, about meditation, because that has been something that I've practiced for, I want to say, over the past 3 to 4 years now. But at this point in my life, I'm really consistent with it. Moving on. See how that little detail didn't matter? Moving on. But yeah, that's what I used to do. And now I still write my feelings out on the page. I still might write a little, instead of just answering the questions, I might write a little insert or whatever. But when I write the inserts, it's in this small journal that I have. That's another thing. It forces me, having not writing on big pages or a big journal forces me to get to the point. It forces me to focus on what actually matters, so I can get to the nitty-gritty instead of taking forever to get there or harping on things that genuinely don't matter. So that's kind of where I'm at with my journaling now, which is crazy to know that it could evolve. That's not something I've ever thought about or expected, but it happened, and I'm just here to share it, and I'm here to talk about it. The other thing is that the other question I ask myself is one thought of the day. What is one thought? And it can be something that I'm like constantly thinking about, something I'm spiraling, or just a thought in that moment. And that forces me to take away all the noise. It forces me to, instead of asking myself the different questions during the day and overthinking during the day. He slowed down right in front of the house, so I thought that was interesting. But anyways, it forces me to take one thought and leave it on the page. And when I'm able to capture that one thought, sometimes it's something that I actually need to ask myself. Sometimes it's something important that I actually need to either let go or take into consideration or think about, whatever the case may be. Every day is obviously really different. And then at the end of the week, I look through all the stuff that I wrote, like from the questions, and it shows me where I'm at mentally and spiritually. It shows me what kind of space I'm actually in, which also gives me insight to what I need. Because in my other video, I spoke on that, about I don't always know what I need, but this way that I'm choosing to journal and right now is helping me to figure out what it is that I need for myself. Whether that be comfort, whether that be literally getting outside, whether that be taking what I learned about this, what I realized or learned about myself, or maybe a philosophy or just whatever, and I can come here and express that to y'all. Because that's another thing. A lot of the things that I write about are things that I want to speak about to other people, or something I just want to come on here and make a video about, but I struggle to take what's in here, which basically is what I spill on the page, and speak about it and use my voice in this way. So that's another thing that it's been helping me with. So if you are a content creator or you create YouTube videos and that's something that you struggle with, then it's possible that doing it that way could help you as well. But that's all I got for y'all today. Peace, love, and light. Mwah.